So Lydnie, what type of flute would you advise anyone who's just beginning to play flute or has only been playing a year or two to start learning on?
It's very important that you choose the correct flute for you when you start. You know, if your flute's not working properly, often students think it's themselves. They think, oh, I can't get a sound out of this flute, it must be me. And so they stop. So I think it's very important to make sure that your flute is working properly. So my suggestion is that you ask somebody who can play the flute to play it and make sure that all the holes are sealing properly. But when you're wanting to buy a flute, you really need to consider how tall you are. And so it's not an age thing, because you can be 16, but you can be quite small. And then you're probably going to want to go with a flute that has a C foot joint rather than a flute that has a B foot joint. And if you're little, we often use what's called a curved head joint. Now the idea of the curved head joint is that if you're little, you can shorten the flute so that the stretch with your arms is not so far. Normally it would be about there, but that brings it in closer to your body. But normally your flute that you buy will come with a straight head joint, which looks like that. So you can see my arms are a little bit further away from my body. So here we have the three parts of the flute. We've given them names, like body names, like our bodies. So this would be the head joint, and that's going to go at the top of the flute. And then we have the body. Most of the keys are on the body. And very important, when you put your flute together, you've got a little bit of space here at the top that doesn't have any keys. Good place to get a grip. If you grip here, there's a good chance that you're going to bend the keys, and then you're going to have problems with keys closing, especially this one that juts out a bit. Very easy to bend if you're holding your flute like that to put it together.
Mums and dads will want to know about that. Is it really easy to break off?
You know, it catches on things. Belts, when you're sitting in the orchestra and you've got your flute on your lap and you pick it up to play, often it catches on things. We have a lot of people coming in with bent G-sharp keys. That's a G-sharp key. So when you put it together, important that you hold it at the top where there aren't any keys, and you twist it in like that. Don't just push it in, but a twisting motion. And you line the head joint. There's usually a logo here, and you line it up with a logo on the body. Right? So here we have the head joint and the body. And then this last little bit is the foot joint. This is a little bit more awkward to put on because there's not a lot of space to hold. So try and get into the habit of holding that last little bit, and the same thing, twisting movement when you put your foot joint on. Now when you're putting your flute together, these are called the rods. With the foot joint, we don't line the foot joint rod up with those rods, because those keys are where our little finger is going to play, and you can see that's causing my hand to do that. So what we do is we line the rod up with the center of the keys of the body. Now my little finger sits on top of the keys.
I wouldn't have known that. I bet many people line them up and learn to play
like
strangely.
Yes. And that's going to cause problems with your wrists later on.
Absolutely.
So the reason they do that is that we all have different length fingers. So I actually like to turn mine quite far out because I've got really long fingers. So that allows me to turn it out. If you've got short fingers, you might want to twist it a little. Okay. So you wanted to know what the difference is between a C foot joint and a B foot joint. Most students will start on a C foot joint. What that means is that the lowest note that you play on the flute is a middle C on the piano. Later on, when you get a little bit more advanced, you'll play on what's called a B foot joint. Now if you have a look at these two flutes, you'll notice the one slightly longer than the other, And that's because down here at the bottom, it has an extra key. So where this has got 2 keys here on the foot joint, this one has 3 keys on the foot joint. So this flute goes down to a B rather than a C. So that's we call the B foot joint, and that we call the C foot joint. Now the other thing that I'd like to point out is that you'll notice on my flute that some of the keys have holes in them. This flute doesn't have any holes in the keys. So we call this flute an open hole flute. And the keys that I put my fingers on have got open holes. Again, when you start to learn to play the flute, you'll probably start on a closed hole flute, and later on, when you're a little bit more advanced, you'll change to an open hole flute. When you buy an open hole flute, they come with plugs. So you can put the plugs into the holes, and as you become familiar with it, you can take them out one at a time until, some people like to take them all out. I did. I just took them all out, and I struggled with it for about a week. You get used to it. Some people like to take them out one at a time, but you can just push them out and then you've got an open hole